I lost 120 pounds between season 2 and season 3 of Big Time Rush, which, by the way, Nickelodeon was stoked about, by the way.
Oh, well, no, they hated it. No, you're joking.
No.
He's joking. Okay.
They were like, hey, Steven, we got some new craft services. Would you like to see?
they're like, here's a bunch of burritos for you to eat.
You got
for
3
breakfast.
hours. Eat it all.
Oh my God. Yeah, like they adjusted to it, but all my wardrobe went in the trash. Like, I mean, could you imagine the amount of money that they're spending on wardrobe? And also, like all those hoodies that I wore on the show, the crazy hoodies.
Yeah, like crazy
Every
fur.
single one of them custom. Those are all custom hoodies.
wow.
So all of those were getting trashed, or they were getting.
We can't imagine that. On Neds, we had about a $12 wardrobe budget. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Must be nice.
see, they gave Scott some money after us, you see.
Ooh.
A little bit.
You know what though? First few episodes of our show, I was like, they put me in a Kangol hat.
Oh, I remember.
You remember?
Yeah.
So I wore a Kangol
That's
for
your
like the
iconic
first
look.
episode, and I was like, dude, I should wear Kangles in every episode. And they were like, yeah, we don't have the money for you to wear
Yeah.
Kangles in every episode. They're like $45 a hat. And
and
I
you're
was
like-
like, give me a minute. And I called Kangol in New York, and I was like, I'm on a series. Here's the thing, guys, is like, you can't wear someone's logo, but Kangles are so unique that like even if you like
Cover the logo, you know it's
you would
Kangol.
still
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And they were like, "How many do you need?" And I was like, actually, we need 3 of every color." And they were like, "Okay." And they sent us 100 Kangol hats to start season 1, and then every season they would send us another 100 hats. And I've been under contract now personally with Kangol for what, 10 years?
No.
And they send a
Yes.
big old box of hats like twice a year, and it's awesome. It's
Go get her,
crazy.
man.
Yeah,
Yes.
but Nickelodeon was like, we're just gonna take this and just shut up. Like,
Yeah.
they were like very happy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember the wardrobe budget being like really low.
Yeah, they're real low. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, the budgets on those Nickelodeon shows are
Not high.
peanuts in comparison to like
to
The
Shrek
real
the
shows?
Network. Oh my, yeah, to Shrek the Musical for sure. That's so funny.
What was it like working with them boys?
Ooh, them boys.
How about them boys?
I love them boys.
We know our audience loves Big Time Rush as much as we do. I've shared before, like Kendall and I were homies pre Big Time Rush. Like we were little teenagers just smoking weed in the valley, you know,
wow.
just hearing Kendall play cover songs on the acoustic. You know, he was always that guy.
Yeah, he's always
Great
been
voice,
so
great dude.
talented,
Yeah.
so cool. All 4 of them are lovely, wonderful people.
But who's the worst?
Oh, easy.
Carlos.
Hey! Wow.
We were all thinking it. Why were we all thinking Carlos? I don't know,
Wild.
but-
He just did a thing with me that is the cutest thing in the whole world. I get a FaceTime from a number I don't have in my phone. And I was like, no, don't answer.
I was gonna say, a FaceTime from a stranger?
No, thank you. And then I get a text going, answer your phone, it's Carlos. And I go, yeah, sure it is. And then he goes, James gave me your number. And I go, sure he did. I go, I'm going to block this. And he keeps trying to FaceTime. And I go, look, I'm blocking this number if you don't send me a voice memo because I don't know who this is.
Yeah.
And then I get a voice memo from Carlos going, it's me. Please pick up your FaceTime. And I was like, what the heck? Like Carlos has never doesn't call me very often. We don't talk that often. But I was like, all right, sure. So I get on FaceTime with him and he's like, look, I am sorry to bother you, but my oldest son is obsessed with Big Time Rush now, with the TV show, and he keeps asking, where's Gustavo? Why doesn't Daddy have Gustavo over to the house? When's Gustavo coming? Can you get on FaceTime with him and let him know that we're friends? And I was like, sure. And I get on and I'm like, what's up, dog? And this kid, oh my God, this kid is like, he's just a little kid, and he's it was so adorable, and it was really sweet, and like that was a pretty cute moment.
So now you love Carlos again.
We're good, we're fine.
Nice.
He's a sweetheart. But James, I've known since he was 12. his dad and my mom are friends.
What?
Randomly in San Diego, and so like I went to see him in a musical when he was in junior high school or high school.
What?
And we went to. We're both Jewish, so we went to what's it called? Like a Jewish high holiday thing where we sat at the piano, him and I, when he was like 14, and we sang at the piano together.
What?
And,
And then you ended up on set, and you're like, I know you.
They cast him first, and then they were like, his dad mentioned to my mom at a party, my son just got cast on a Nickelodeon show. And I overheard and was like, oh, tell him congrats. But like, did not think anything of it because I was like, I'm not going to end up on Nickelodeon. Like,
no, you're Shrek.
I'm an adult man. Yeah. You know, right? Like, what am I going to do? And then they had me, then I auditioned, and then they sent the tape to the boys to show them who got cast as Gustavo, and he freaked out.
bet he did.
Called me and was like, Glickman, oh my God, you know.
Hell
And then
yeah.
it was really cool because then I had like someone that I could kind of, pals around with a little bit. But Logan and I became friends really early. And his dressing room was across from mine. So we would see each other every morning and have breakfast together basically
Nice.
every day. And we shot a lot of weird little skits together. He's a super funny, weird, wacky guy. And then Kendall is like
Chill.
the one that I'm probably the closest with out of all of them. He's the one that's been like the most supportive of like music stuff that I'm doing.
Yep.
He produced I did a cover of How to Save a Life by The Fray.
Yeah.
He produced it and sang backup on it and
Oh, awesome.
played all the instruments on it. And it's like,
He's such a great musician.
yeah, he's such a nice human being
He is.
for like being so encouraging and being cool and and like we're pretty tight. We're pretty
I love it, man.
When are you and Devin and Daniel going to make a cover?
What's the plan, guys? What do you guys want to do?
We can go to the studio. I got a studio lined up.
When can
Turn
I
up.
post about your
Pull up
cover?
downtown.
Let's do
We'll get on it.
We in there.
We'll get
Bow.
on it.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, we'll get on it.
That's wild,
I'm intimidated by your voice now that I've heard you record your album.
You're
live.
insane,
hey now,
man.
Come on
You're dope.
now. Come on now.
Oh, man.
No,
guys are
really.
too nice.
The voice of a fucking angel, Lindsay.
Look. I haven't heard your voice, but I did know you were on
A
Recording.
robust angel.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that. Lindsay, look at this. We got good. She's
Got that
great.
good grip.
Gotta love Lindsay.
Right?
Gotta
Oh,
love
yeah,
Lindsay.
yeah.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of you guys. I watched Neds Declassified. I used to watch the show to see what you guys were doing. It was a damn good show.
I love
fun,
the
man.
sarcasm, man. This is great.
I'm not. That's not sarcasm. That's real stuff.
so-
Sorry,
Yeah.
man. Well, I
Scott's
appreciate
a
it.
genius.
Appreciate it. Yeah,
Yeah.
Scott's a
You know?
genius.
Yeah,
for sure.
but it was a really fun show. There
It was, man.
it was great, and like I just mentioned it last night to somebody, and they were like, "I grew up watching that show." So
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool. I love that we both have the same showrunner. Same
Kinda
I know.
origins.
Yeah.
It's some kinship thing where I like feel connected to anyone who works with Scott.
It's such a kindred
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Like for
Yeah.
all
'Cause
of
you know
us,
what it
'cause
is
you
to
know
work with
exactly
Scott.
what it is to be. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you. I'll give you a inside baseball like Big Time Rush story if you want.
Yeah,
Something
yeah,
like
gimme,
that. I
gimme.
haven't talked
Take us-
about this before.
Take us to Paramount.
So this is like some real stuff. Like first season, all of us are brand new. Okay, like none of us have really. I'd been on one TV show prior. James had done iCarly. I think Carlos was in Menudo. I'm like, I don't know what was happening. And Kendall had been working, trying to. I think he was going to do Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark in the musical. He was going to do
like I heard something
Spider-Man.
like that back in the day.
He was going to play Spider-Man. So like there was like we were all had some experience. Oh, and Kendall was the stand-in for Haley Joel Osment in AI. Back in the day.
Really?
So like there was like everyone had some professional
Something, yeah.
experience, but nothing where we're all series regulars, right?
Yeah.
So now we're all series regulars, we're all working on the show, and so we're all kind of coming up together and we all kind of know all the same people, right? And so here's what happens is we finish first season, and they go off and they do some of their first live performances. And I show up to one of their live performances at a mall, and I wore my Gustavo costume because I thought that no one would know who I was. I wouldn't
without
be able
the Kangol,
without the Kangol
and the
and the
sunglasses.
stuff.
Yeah,
There were 5,000 people at this concert, and I got like attacked.
Bum rush, yeah.
And like I was getting like grabbed at by all these people, and they like had to take me, and like the boys were like, "What are you wearing?
Why would you do this?
Why are you dressed like this?" Like it was so fun. It was super awkward, and I was like, I didn't think I'd get in.
I'm
like
going
I mean,
undercover
you
as
know,
Gustavo.
I mean, it hasn't ended. I mean, when Big Time Rush did their first comeback show in New
yeah.
York, I bought fake tickets online, like bullshit tickets.
Yeah.
Like scab tickets. What are those called?
StubHub.
Still,
You got
I bought like $600 tickets to go to their show, thinking that I wouldn't get in. Like, and they were like, "We would have just let you in." Like, but I'm
we'll
like,
put you on the list, bro.
So I'm like, I don't know. I'm always so worried that it's not going to work out.
Brother.
Hey, it's all good.
Stretch
though.
scarred you, brother.
It really did. It
We
really
want
did.
to comp you our $29.99 ticket as of today, and for
Wow.
any of the shows that we get into.
Yeah, pull up, brother.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, just
that's-
shoot me a text.
I appreciate that.
You keep that $29.99.
So what ended up happening was during we go on this break, they go off, they do a bunch of shows, right? We come back, it's season 2, we're good to go. We're doing 30 episodes season 2. We are like keyed in, ready to go. And as we're starting to work first episode, one of the guys goes, "Oh yeah, last night I was talking to Michael, and oh my God, he's so funny, dude. And like, I can't believe he pulled that, thing when we were in Vegas." And I was like, "Who's Michael? What happened in Vegas?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And then they just kept talking. And I was like, okay, that was kind of weird, And then later in the day, another one of the boys was like, "Oh, dude, Larry called, and he said that we have a recording session tonight, but we have to do, this if we're going to do it." And I go, "Oh, who's Larry?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not, you don't have to worry about it. That's not for you, But, and they just kept talking. And I was like, oh, okay. And I like felt this like horrible feeling, and I like couldn't figure out what was going on.
I'm an outsider.
I was like, I'm like kind of suddenly being left out, And I was like, whatever, brush it off. Come back the next day, and they're talking. Same thing happens. Where one of them was like, "Oh, dude, Carl sent over that report. We have to go over it before we do the next show." And I was like, "Oh, what's Carl's deal?" And they're like, "I'm just trying to stay in with my boys, And they're like, they were like, "We don't you don't need to know about Carl, And I
You don't want no parts of this.
I
man.
like went to my dressing room, and I like fell apart. Like
Oh.
I was a mess, right?
Dang.
Crying, and I like could not keep it together. And I was like, what is going on with me? Like, I'm a grown man.
And these
I'm
are
30
boys.
years old. I was 30 years
Bullying
old. I'm like,
on the set
these
of
are
Big
a
Time
bunch of
Rush.
children.
17-year-olds.
These are children. I'm like, I don't need to know what is going on with me. This is
That's
so
hilarious.
crazy. And I had met a therapist at some party, and I called him, and I was like, I need to
Talk to someone
see
about
you
this.
today. And he was like, okay. And I went into this therapist, and I like sit down that day. I go in, I meet with him. I'm like, here's what they did. Here's what it is. And I'm like,
Fucking Carl, and they won't tell me about
I'm like,
Carl.
they won't tell
Larry,
me
don't
who
get
any
me
of these
started on
guys are.
Larry.
And I feel so left out, but it's like I'm being left out of something I don't actually care about.
yeah.
And I don't know what is going on with me. I'm like, what is this? What does this mean? And this therapist was like, oh, have you ever had someone in your life who got a bunch of big opportunities and started traveling a lot and then started ignoring you? And I was like, oh, my dad did that.
Oh.
Like my dad was like, became a big businessman, then started traveling, and then he left. And this therapist goes, well, that's what it is. Like you're equating these two things. And I go, what do I do to deal with that? And he goes, tell the boys. And I was like, really? And he was like, pull them together and tell them how it's affecting you. And I was like, okay. And I go in the next day and I call a meeting in Kendall's room. And it's me, Kendall, James, Carlos, and Logan. And I go, so here's what happened with my dad. And here's how this is making me feel when you guys say this. The four of them got up and hugged me. And then promised that they would never do that again. And it's been 10 years. They've never once, ever kept me out of anything. They've always kept me in. If I need to know, if I ask, oh, who's this person? That they tell me right away. But they really like kind of felt the pain, felt it, and they were just like, we're here for you.